Grant, I'll kick it off. Leo da Silva and Cercle Bruges. Where's that at?
Well, Leo's been given permission to go and speak to a club. At this present time, my guess is as good as yours in terms of how it's going. But I believe he's there speaking to a club now, and we'll see how that progresses over the next day or two.
I take it a fee has been agreed then?
Yeah, he's been given permission to go and speak, so I think it's all been agreed this end. Now it's obviously the formality that Leo's got to go and sort it at the other end, so we're waiting to hear back.
Can you give us any indication of fee? I've
no idea, Burnsy. I don't get involved in any of that. So it's obviously been a fee that the club's accepted and got what they want, which is a pleasing thing.
Okay, so you would expect it to go through?
I would have thought so, but we're waiting to hear.
Okay, just a quick check. Nobody else going out, is there?
No, there's not. No, we are where we are at the minute. We're just looking to recruit. Like I said to you during the week, we're trying really hard to strengthen the group because I think that's very important. Leading into this season with the amount of games that are coming.
In terms of Akib Adelican, you've been linked with him at Bristol City. Is he coming in?
I think over the last week or so, we've been linked with a lot of players, haven't we? And I think I always say this to you anyway, when windows are open, it just takes one agent to ring about a player, and then all of a sudden it's all over the press. So we've been linked with a lot of players. I'm not going to get drawn into anybody else's players. We are working very, very hard to bring in 2/3 bodies to give us a little bit of a push and help this group.
Okay, so you're saying it's not true in his case?
Like I say, I'm not going to get drawn into anybody else's players.
Okay, so I'll throw another name at you then. Randell Williams at Exeter. The stories down there saying you've put 2 bids in and had them rejected. Is that true?
Like I say, Burns, I'm going to be quite boring here, and I'm not going to speak about anybody else's players. All I can tell you is we're working hard to try and strengthen this group.
Would you expect to have players in by the weekend?
Possibly not. It's probably a bit too late now. In terms of us, players have to have a medical, which are held in London. They're an all-day thing. So at this present time, no. Probably looking at early part of next week.
You seem to be getting linked with wingers. Do you not need strikers? Do you not need a 9?
Look, we're linked with a lot of players, aren't we? So we know what we need. The press, obviously, and people will put stuff on social media and link us to here, there and everywhere. We know exactly what we need. So we're working hard on that behind the scenes. Okay, where are you at with Tom Eves' injury? Again, in terms of time scale, I'm not too sure. He'll definitely miss the weekend, I know that. But time scale, we're not sure. We don't want to put a date on it because I think the physios are quite, cautious in that, in case he's quicker than what we actually say. So, but we'll wait. We're just playing it by ear with Tom over these next few days and see where he is. But time scale, not too sure. All right. So, but is it a matter of weeks rather than months? It's not months, but it's we'll see. We'll see over the next. I think we'll get a better picture when Tom starts to feel a wee bit better in terms of his ankle and comes out of that boot. Okay. Have you got anybody else coming back for this? Is Callum Elder fit? He trained today. Whether this game comes too soon for him or not, we'll see. But Callum hasn't trained with the group apart from today for until the back end of last season. So it may come too soon for him, but it was pleasing to see him back on the grass today. Okay. Anybody else back? Or changes to the squad from last week? Yeah, obviously James Scott and Josh McGuinness have come back from international duty. Apart from that, no. We're just missing Tom Eves, who's not available, and obviously Louis Coyle is suspended. What about any of the youngsters from the other night? And I'm thinking Callum Jones, because like you, I was very impressed. Does he make the squad? Any of them make the squad? Oh, yeah, he'll be travelling with us, definitely. His performance. He travelled with us to Sunderland, but just didn't. But Sheafy had been training well as well. So them two are competing with each other, Max Sheaf and Callum. But I agree with you, Callum was very impressive the other night, and I spoke to you about that after the game as well. So again, Callum will travel with us to Gillingham.
If we may, can we talk about the season as a whole?
Yes. Yep.
What's the aim?
The aim is to try and bounce back. The aim is to try and get promoted. The aim is to try and get back into the Championship. I feel as if we're recruiting very, very well in terms of players who know this level and know what it takes to win. We want to have that sort of culture now. It's very difficult sometimes to break that culture that we had at back end of last season, but to kick it off last week with a win, albeit in penalties, it's a good start for us. Now it's the first game of the league. It's a difficult game. Gillingham are strong at home. Probably if I hadn't got shut down last season, I'd have fancied them probably to push for the top 6. But again, they've recruited well. They've brought some good players in down there, and they're a handful. People like a Kindy and Fideen Oliver. 2 big lumps they've got up front will be a handful for them. So our aim is to try and bounce back. Our aim is to try and make sure we have a really good season and try and get ourselves back in and around those automatic places.
We talked at the end of last season about, and you referred to the plan. What's the plan for the club to get relegated and then bounce back? Was that?
Look, I don't want to speak about last season. Last season's gone. I'm only focused on this season. The plan is for us to bounce back. That's the plan now. We want to make sure we have a good season. We want to make sure we bring some more bodies in that's going to help the group and give us a lift that we need. At this present time, we know we're short in certain areas of the team, and we're trying very hard to recruit there.
Do you put, given I know you want to escape last season, but it's hard to do. Sometimes the past shapes your future. Do you, as a manager, put pressure on yourself by saying the aim is promotion? We'll get promotion. Do you not put pressure on yourself when maybe at a time, Grant, you want to take a bit of pressure off yourself?
Look, there's pressure in everyday life, and what I didn't, you've just tried to put words in my mouth there by saying we will get promoted. I didn't. I said the aim is promotion. That's what I said. There's no point of us getting into the season saying, "Oh, look, we'll be happy to finish mid-table, and if we have a push for the top 6, then we've done okay." That's not me, and never will be me. Pressure, no problem. I'd rather deal with that than my players. They're free to go and express themselves and hopefully turn out some good performance and good results for us this season. But we like to set the bar high, like we did last season. And like I said, I don't want to speak about it when I first come in, but the bar's set again. We want to make sure we have a good push, and we feel as if we've got a squad that's capable. Definitely, if we can get some more bodies through the door to give us that last little bit that's going to need.
I know you say you've got new signings and they're used to winning, but you've still got a fair chunk of the squad that are used to losing. How do you change that mentality? And I asked you this last season: are they mentally strong enough?
Well, I think we already have. We won last week at Sunderland, so the mentality now is to win. And it's every day. It's the standards that we set around the training ground. It's making sure everybody stays on top of that. But you were doing that. You were saying that last season, and it wasn't happening. So what have you changed? What changes? Look, I don't want to speak about last season, Burnsy. It's gone. We all know we weren't good enough last season. I've said it on numerous occasions now, and I'm not going to come into this press conference to talk about last season. I'm talking about this season and what we're trying to do inside this building that will not go anywhere else. It's what we do in this training ground will stay in house. It's not for me to come out publicly so everybody else can hear what we're doing inside the building. We'll keep it in house, and let's be judged at the end of the season. Let's see where we are.
Don't you think you'll get judged before that, Grant? I'm not meaning to be unkind here, but you'll not get judged at the end of the season. But given what happened and where the clubs are, having had a relegation, you'll get judged straight away, won't you?
Yeah.
And that doesn't that add to the pressure?
Not really. That's what people from the outside will do, and that's football, and that's the industry I'm in. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But for us, let's see where we are at the end of the season, and people can judge us then.
Okay. Why should the fans buy into it and believe it?
Look, like I said at the last game at season last year at Cardiff, fans won't believe anything we say at the minute, and we get that. But we've got to change the mindset. We've got to change the culture. We've already started to do that. We've dug in deep last week at Sunderland when we weren't at our best to win. And now we've got to be strong inside this building, because we'll be knocked from pillar to post. There's games where we will lose this season, and I'm sure everyone will want to come for us. That's fine. That's the nature of football. But we've got to be big enough to take that, big enough to stand up and react, and big enough to go and win the next one. And that's what we want to do.
But the fans and the critics will take it as long as the performances are good, won't they? Would accept that you're not going to win all the games or anything like that, but it's the manner of performance that's the important thing.
Of course it is. And like I said to you on Tuesday, I feel as if we'll get better as games come. Every game that goes past, we'll get better and better. There's going to be days when we've been really good and lose. There's going to be days when we've been really poor and win. That's just football.
Okay. So what have you changed? What do you expect to change this season?
You'll see like a squad that's determined to bounce back. You talk about the players that were here last year. They're obviously hurting from everything that's gone on last year in terms of being relegated. Those boys have got a real determination now to bounce back, to prove people wrong, to try and get back into the level where we were last season. The new recruits have come in, like I said, to used to winning, know how to win, have had promotions in their CV. And we're coming in and we're all building it all together. We're working very hard on the training ground to make sure that we're better in terms of performances. And we want to set that off on Saturday, first league game at Gillingham. It's going to be difficult, but we'll look to go there and try and win.
How long were you? I know you don't want to go back to last season, but are you hurting? Are you still hurting?
Of course I'm hurting. That's just the winner inside me. Hurt all the time, but I've tried to dust myself down. I think I have. I'm looking forward to the season ahead now, and we want to be positive on everything we do. We want to have a real siege mentality inside this training ground, which we're already creating, to be fair. And it's what we all do in here that's ultimately going to get us results of the weekend.
What have you learned?
Look, you're either winning or learning. For me, last season was a big learning curve for everyone. Now I want to change that learning to winning, and that's the idea for us this season.
Okay. Do you think you're a better manager for the experience?
I think, look, I'm a young manager. I've gone through quite a lot of things in the 4 years that I've been a manager that people probably wouldn't go through in 10. So yes, I do. I think, as a manager, you're always learning. You're never the finished article, and if you think you've cracked it, then you may as well give up. So I'm learning every single day, as is my coaching staff, as is these players. But we want to change that learning and to start winning games. And yes, there's going to be days when we win and it hasn't been the best performance. But there's also going to be days when we lose and we've turned in a very good performance. So we want to try and make sure that every game in this league's difficult and it's different. I know the league very, very well. You can play against a team that can pass the ball very well and try and hurt you that way, and then you can play against a team who's very direct. So you have to be ready for everything that's thrown at you at this division.
I've no doubt it's 15 years since I've seen it, but I've no doubt it's still a brutal league, and there's some very good sides in there. You need to start well, don't you? Not just the team, but you need to start well to restore that faith. I would say to you, you're under pressure, aren't you?
We're under pressure every game we play to try and win the game. And it's not just about me. It's about everybody, because it's not it's not I, Grant McCann, Hull City. We're all in this together. And that's the way we approach this season.
But presumably you will pay the price if you don't get that team winning. What's Ehab said to you? Has he given you are you guaranteed the season? What's he said to you?
Look, I don't know. I don't know how Ehab thinks, but we've got a really good connection with Ehab and a really good understanding. I never worry about that. If you worry about that, then there's no point to turning up on a Saturday. So my job is to try and change the culture here. My job is to try and get this club back into the league that we're in. My job is to try and make us perform at a better level that we showed. And my job is to try and win football matches. Ultimately, that's that's what my job is, and we're trying to do that.
Just a final one from me, really, and it goes to tactics and shape or formation. Will it stay the same as last season, or are you going to change things?
You'll have to wait and see.
Fair enough. Enigmatic, that, Grant. I appreciate your time. I'm sorry I probably asked too many questions there. I'll listen with interest.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hey, Grant, you all right?
How you doing? You okay?
Good, thanks, mate. Just to go back to Leo Lopez, in the situation you've got here where I assume you want to keep the player, but he wants to leave, is there ever any going back from that point where the player says he wants to go?
Yeah, there is. I think there's opportunities when players, you get. I'm sure they get it at every football club up and down the country. Players get an offer from abroad. The money is a lot more than what they're offered. They're on here, so people can get their head turned. But in Leo's case, he made it very clear that he wanted to leave the football club after the season had finished. Were we ever gonna, if he didn't go or if he doesn't go, are we gonna just sabotage him and put him in the stand? No, we can't afford to do that. He would come back into the thinking, but at this present time, he's not here. He's been given permission to speak to a club. If it doesn't come off, then we'll assess it after that.
I understand that you're close to Leo. Was there, any chance of you talking him out of wanting to leave?
No, because look, he's got a representative and an agent who he's very close to also. So he's, that's where we are really.